Welcome to the Pinch. And today we are going to have a little chat about those weird entities in other dimensions or other spaces or other times and places that sometimes people call aliens. I know that Sarabeth spent a lot of her life thinking about aliens, dreaming about aliens, imagining aliens, talking to aliens. I don't know. So tell me, what is some of your ideas? What's happening with aliens right now?
Which aliens do you mean? It's like I get a little bit overwhelmed at this point when
Well,
people ask me that
are there
question.
like different levels of galactic overlords who are guiding human existence?
Okay, I've spent a lot of time looking into this stuff and listening to hours and hours of people's testimonies of being repeatedly abducted and delving into the government connections with extraterrestrials and all this stuff. And it's just got to the point where there's so much going on that there's evidence of out there if you're interested to look for it. There's such a spectrum
So
that I would
you
say,
think like the U.S. government has met with different alien races and species and so on? There's been like technology transfers and there's like underground bases where like they've got captured aliens or aliens hanging out.
what I think is that there are, you can look at it this way, there are three tiers of government. The first tier of government are the elected officials and stuff, and they're like, puppets
Mm-hmm.
basically. And then you have the second tier of government, and that's where you have your black operations, people probably that control the currency and all that stuff. And one thing that defines them is their belief that they're running everything because they have control over this first tier of government. They place them and whatever. And then you have the third tier of government, and these individuals are interfacing with extraterrestrials on a daily basis. They're operating on a level that is so far above and disconnected from the second tier of government that we actually, being not directly involved with it, probably don't have much of a comprehension of where they're coming from. And I have a feeling that due to the nature of some of the civilizations that they're interfacing with, that our idea of good and evil and right and wrong kind of crumbles down in the face of it. I mean, for instance, we want our cattle to be healthy because we use them for food and milk and stuff. And I think that there are some that are the deals that the United States government has made with the extraterrestrials have made it so that they're trading in some of our DNA, whatever. Okay. Do you want to ask me more specific questions, or because I could just go on and on and on about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was still interested. I mean, so tell me about like, is the moon like an artificial alien base? I mean, some people have noted that like the sun is 93 miles away, the moon is only like 12,000 miles away. Yet they're exactly the same size in the sky. I mean, like
Yeah, the
perfect
chances
eclipses.
are pretty low,
So
and
what is that about?
apparently, like the statistical probability that the moon would be appear to be exactly the same size from our perspective as the sun, and the fact that it rotates at the exact same rate that it revolves, making it so that we only ever see one side of it, is statistically beyond highly unlikely. And it looks like there's a an alien city or some kind of base on the other side. I've also
Well, then you had
heard
Michael Sarian's ideas, right? That like those evil aliens who crash landed and then created
well,
the
that
different
they
races,
put
but then
a
there was like a
star.
blockage there, so they couldn't get past the atmosphere or
Yeah,
something
I've
like that.
heard all about that too. It's probably all true. I'm very open minded, and that's why I keep learning. I
So what is the? I mean, what part does the human imagination play in all of this? I mean, in a way, is like William Blake talked about how the imagination is not a state; it's the human existence in itself. Are we somehow as we enter into our kind of imaginings around these aliens, are we somehow constructing or
I
reifying
think
something?
I think yes, I think we're directly participating in it, and I think that we are connected to them or whatever it is, whatever we perceive as any entity outside of ourselves through our consciousness and imagination. It seems to me that the whole of all of what we call reality may just be one grand illusion anyway, and that we're all one being
Mhm.
experiencing self in
Well,
perpetuity.
I mean, there are some theories by ecologists, scientists, like Guy McPherson, actually believes that we've already, flipped the switch in terms of climate change is accelerating so rapidly that a huge amount of methane is going to erupt in the next decades. That's going to basically annihilate human existence.
in one giant fart.
Pretty much by 2035, according to Guy McPherson.
Well, there's been lots of prognostications of doom over the years.
But do you think that also, something like that was to be the case? And of course, I don't know if it is. It could be that moment of where we make some kind of cosmic leap, like a transmutation into another level of psychic reality or something like that.
Yes, I think so. I think it's all possible. And I do also perceive that that planets are not permanent, and that if we want to continue passing our genetic information on down through the physical world, eventually, as a civilization, eventually, you will all eventually, sorry to say that too many times, will have to leave your home planet. Just like you fly the coop as a bird.
Right. Well, even suns and universes are not permanent. They all disappear,
exactly.
spin in and out of existence.
And word on the street about the biological greys, not their semi-biological shorter automatons that perform tasks, is that they're so old that they survived the last heat death of the universe by somehow managing to temporarily escape the space-time continuum. And that they've been involved in so many wars and had to hide underground for long periods of time. They all became test tube babies and their DNA is stagnant. I went on a tangent again.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people would say that they could be a form of like what Gnostics talk about as like the archons, or the kind of beings that you find in the Dead Sea Scrolls. But hey, I think that's enough for today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarabeth. More about aliens to come.